This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mithras. Mithras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. Da, da, da. Do you know, that burp has been waiting to come out, and then it just came out.
What did it taste of?
Didn't tell the water. Hello.
Yeah, as soon as I turned my mic on, it just sort of like went, oh, burp.
So let me guess, cucumber.
No, it tastes of Pepsi Max, actually.
Only me.
Only me. So, hello and welcome.
Hello.
To yes, as
Good
the
evening and welcome.
the start of the in-betweeny sort of like adventure. So last week the party successfully completed the story of Sewer Jack.
It's not often you say that, is it? Successfully completed. Especially if it was Shadowrun.
Yeah. But you
They shall go down in
Yeah, they've messed up another adventure, but let's carry on.
you did, and I don't know if you noticed, but I think I clipped the highlight of the second to last adventure when actually Mr. Bartleby nailed it on his explanation about what was happening, which was really good.
It's a pity you didn't let anybody else in the adventure know in character.
He did. He said it at the end. Oh no, in character. No, it's.
Yes.
So the party successfully completed the story of Sewer Jack. So they're on a roll. They've done 2 successful adventures at the moment. So I'm hoping for a third. That I really am hoping for it.
Is it sort of like go and buy 6 apples?
Well, it's 4 apples and a banana, but hopefully you can deal with the banana. You know,
What's the banana?
So before we get on to the exciting adventure, I will allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and who they will be playing tonight. Off you go, gentlemen.
Hi guys, I'm Chugawugga. My character is called Gulliver. He is an apprentice sorcerer in the Order of the Kraken, which is the Blue Order, one of the 4 sorcery orders on Odis. The Order of the Kraken is the one which specialises in spells evolving around communication, transportation, and teleportation. Gulliver himself is only an apprentice in it, so he doesn't have the major spells like the portal spells, but he's getting there. He also has several minor spells. He refers to them as cantrips. They're based on the folk magic schools in Mithras. As a sorcerer, he can change the spells to however he wants them to be. He can put in points of shaping, which is a separate skill for him, and by doing so, he can change things like number of targets, the range, the intensity of the spell, and he can even combine several spells into one single casting. That's if Inwills has read up the rules on it. And I shall pass you on. I don't have the cameras open, so I don't know who's muted. So I'm going to pass you on to Medivac.
Why, thank you there. I was muted. Well shot. I'm Medivac. I play Hazra Khan. He's a nomad. He's a nomad from the northern steppes of Odes. He's fallen with his motley crew. And on his first adventure, he gained himself a lovely black arm, which is now scarred from the seed that he tried to pick up that rejected him. And his arm's all black, which is covered up with nice quilted armor. He is a scout. He's a tracker. He loves fighting with a short spear and scimitar. He does feel very out of place in the city. He loves being outside. He's got a nice little hut just at the edge of the forest before you come towards the area of the city. So he loves that. He goes out tracking every day. And what he does is he also goes out and maps the area around there to see if there's been any changes to that area. And he'll go a bit further if need be, if he's got a bit more spare time. And he'll report that back to the Brotherhood, which he's a member of, who do exactly record and track and keep a note of all the changes in that area and try to maintain the balance of what is going on. And that is the most important thing, balance. He had a bit of an epiphany where Amriel spoke to him. He'll be looking more into that because Mr. Bartleby told him that if Amriel spoke
I've never heard anybody stumble so
sorry, that he's a chosen one. I will not stumble anymore. Yeah, Mr. Bartleby said that if Amriel spoke to him, he must be the chosen. So he's looking forward to find out what he's chosen for. And with that, I shall pass it on to Longshank CPG.
Hello, my name is Hengist. I am a warrior from across the sea, and I recently purchased a house in Lindo, which means I have been elevated into the gentry. I currently wear heavy armour and fight with a sword and shield, and the armour that I wear is emblazoned with my family crest of a rearing horse. And I have come across this party, and I will aid them in whatever way I can through my martial powers. And I shall pass it on to Bartleby.
I'm Mr. Pickles, and I'm the guy who plays Bartleby Fumus. I'm our team's theist, serving Amriel, the light moon goddess. Through her, I'm able to work miracles and minor prayers that generally heal or give energy to people, protection and cleansing, curing. That's pretty much what Bartleby is able to do through his goddess. He's not much of a fighter, but everybody else saves him and prevents him from getting active scars, and darkened arms, and burned legs. As they protect him, but pass it on to animals.
Yeah, I was just reading up on your combine, Gulliver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's interesting because it says any shaping applied to a combined casting is assigned to each and every one of these spells involved at no extra magic point cost. Each additional spell added using Combine costs 1 extra magic point and increases the difficulty grade of the invocation roll by 1 step.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sort of like cast 2 spells, then instead of a standard, it would become a more difficult.
Hard.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you don't pay for the extended the other aspects of the shaping on the other spells. I think that's what it's saying. So, and what's your shaping now?
Well, at the moment, it's 75. So eight points of shaping I have.
Yeah, so you can actually combine 9 spells together. But every spell that you added would be another another magic point, but would increase it. So I mean, it's I was just figuring out whether or not they've all got to affect the same target, etc. as well. So let's start off with some experience rolls, because I think I popped into the chat on the Odes campaign that I think you've got. I think it's 2 per session, so 4 sessions, that makes 8. +3 for successfully solving it, which means 11. Hengist, who was here for the first session, he gets 2 minus his 1 because of his low ability scores, which gives him 1. So just to let you know, if you're watching the stream, to characters in the Mithras rule set do not have levels. They can go up in ranks in their chosen order, but that requires a number of terms service and certain levels in certain skills, or certain percentages in certain skills, should I say. So all their skills are matched by percentile dice. They can have any skills they want. It's not, oh, you're a rogue, so you must have this, that, and the other. Anybody can learn magic. Anybody can be a theist. Anybody can wield a weapon. It's totally up to the characters or the players, how they develop their characters. At the end of every adventure, we play at the end of every set adventure, which is about 4 games normally. The characters get experience rolls. Now they can use an experience roll to increase a skill level. And what they do is that they roll a percentile dice, they add on their intelligence score, and then they have to get higher than their existing skill. If they get higher, then they add 1d4 plus 1 percentile points onto that skill. If they don't get higher, i.e. they just get lower, then they just add 1%, and that's it. They can also, if they fumbled throughout the game, so they got 95, 96, 99 or 100 on a dice roll, that's a fumble, and they then take, they can get 1 point for that in any case. They can learn new spells. I think it costs 5, is it, or 8 for?
It's 3 for folk magic and 5 for sorcery spells.
That's it, yeah, 3 and 5. So they both Bartleby and Gulliver can use up their experience points to actually learn new spells if they desire. They characters can improve characteristics like strength, dexterity, endurance, but that actually takes a constant roll, a constant use of the experience rolls. So say, for example, somebody used 3 experience rolls to increase their strength, then every time they got experience rolls, they would have to maintain giving 3 to that characteristic in order to keep it elevated. They can go over 100%. And if they go over 100%, then anything over 100 is actually used as a negative dice roll to adjust the opposed roll. So if Gulliver was casting a spell at 120% and somebody was trying to evade it, then that person will have their evade skill reduced by 20% because Gulliver is so epic.
But Gulliver's skill will be reduced to 100 as well.
Yeah. So that and generally that won't matter in any case. So this is the time that the players tell me how they would like to use their experience rolls. So I am assuming, everybody, that you've upped your fumbles. You've done all that. So Gulliver, we'll come to you first. You've got 11 points plus whatever you had left over. So what would you like to do?
Okay, so I had 1 fumble, which was in perception, so that's gone up to 62%. I want to start putting them into my points into shaping first. My intelligence is 14. My shaping is currently 75.
Okay then.
So this is my first roll.
So that'll go up by 1.
Yeah, so it's now 76. I'll put in another one. Can you keep a track of my rolls, please?
I am.
I put in another one.
That's 2. So that'll go at 1d4 plus 1.
Okay, so 1d4 plus the 1.
That's 80 now.
Okay, so that's 80. I want to continue putting them into that.
Okay. That'll go up by 1.
So that's 81.
That's 3 rolls you've had so far.
Okay, and again.
Ooh, nice. 1d4 plus 1. Oh, we're on a roll today. That'll go up to 85.
86, isn't it?
80. Were you at 80? Oh, yeah, sorry, because you got a spare one.
Yeah.
86, yeah, and you've had 4 rolls.
Okay, I want to put another one in.
Okay. 87.
And another one.
88.
Can I just say, and a constant?
Yes.
And another one.
Oh, 89. You've had 7 rolls, you got 4 left.
And one more.
Oh, yes. That would be 1d4 plus 1. 2, so that's 91.
91. Okay, I now want to switch to folk magic, which is currently on 76.
Have you got 3 rolls left?
Okay. So that's now 77. And again.
I've got a delay in the dice rolls.
77, 81. And the last one is going to go into that as well. And
Nice. Yeah.
81, 85.
85. And that's all your rolls done and dusted. Yep.
And my pen's died.
Oh, no. Good job we're on electronic character sheets, isn't it? Excellent.
No, but I can't make notes with a dead pen.
And just poke underneath you, because that'll be on top of Mr. Pickles' Bartleby's head, and he will then start off. Yes, Bartleby, where would you've got 11? Did you have any left over from last time?
I never keep any left over.
Okay, so
always give it to Amriel.
You've got 11 points 11 rolls to roll. What would you like to do?
I did get fumble in folk magic and locale. I brought those
Okay,
up. The
brilliant.
first 2 I want to do are in folk magic. So it's a 69, and I have an intelligence of 14 like Gulliver. So
Right.
here's my first roll for folk magic.
Nice. 1d4 plus 1.
Not bad.
Is that 71 now?
Yes.
Yeah, 71.
So my second roll on that is bringing it up to 72.
72.
All right, and then my next, I want to do exhort. 1 roll in exhort.
Okay. What's it?
My exhort is a 73,
73. Okay.
and not much there.
74.
74. Making progress. Next, I want to do 2 in devotion.
Okay.
My devotion is a 75.
Okay. It's now a 76.
Getting those small points.
Slowly
yeah,
but
76.
surely.
And here is my second devotion.
Nice.
Heck yeah. There we go.
1d4 plus 1. Oh.
Yeah, that big money. That big money.
78 now.
I'm pretty devout.
And you've got 6 rolls left.
Yes. And now this is the part where instead of doing my normal priestly duties, I want to spend some time with Medivac out in the woods. Not Medivac, Hazra, because I want to do some healing and endurance.
Okay, then.
Healing first. I want to do 2 of those in healing. My healing is currently a 50.
50, right. Should be nice. Ooh, 51.
Yeah, I'm doing so good.
Obviously, the rolls were with Gulliver today.
That's fine. We need a good sorcerer. And my second and last healing.
What do you mean you need a good sorcerer? You got a good sorcerer.
Yeah. 1d4 plus 1.
Yeah,
4,
there we go.
yes.
There's some money. Up to 55.
And what's the other one? Endurance?
Yes, and I'm doing my remaining 4 in endurance.
Okay, then. Go for it.
Endurance is a 59.
Nice. 1d4 plus 1.
Excellent. 3 is acceptable.
Is that 62 now?
Yes. 62. Here's my second.
Nice. Okay. Oh, this is what
Getting tough with Hazra.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I'm liking this. It's
We
acceptable.
we work hard in the woods.
And I dare you to jump off things, so I had to fix your leg a few times. 66. This is my third roll
Yeah.
for endurance.
Nice. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
71.
All right, my final endurance roll, 71.
Oh.
Up to 72.
72.
So this means I have, I think I have enough skills up to 70 in my church. I might have to double check that I need to do some sort of special gift or demonstration for them to become an acolyte.
Yeah. So
Just double check that. Endurance up to 70 plus, folk magic, exhort, and devotion.
Yeah, so you must have a minimum of 3 years and must know at least 4 cult spells up to 70%. So you've got your 70% in your four cult skills.
Have I made it 3 years though?
So you just got another 2 years to do.
Yeah. So yeah. So now is the time that you prove yourself, and we will need to consider some kind of valuable gift or service that must be rendered to the Brotherhood, the Church, in order to demonstrate your devotion and loyalty.
I presume we'll talk about that maybe outside of the game.
Well, I'll probably tell you. Yeah. No. Well,
Okay,
we
cool.
can pretend to talk about.
Cool, that'd be fun too.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay then. So we're coming across to you, Mr. Hazra.
Hello. I'm going to do. I had a perception fumble which I put in.
Brilliant.
I'm going to be doing 5 nomadic survivals, nomadic combat skills, which was
Yeah.
it's 83 at the moment.
Whoa, nice.
I know. Let's see what happens here.
83.
First-
Then. What's your
First roll.
What's your
Intelligence 12. I'm not very
Right.
bright. Well, I'm above average.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's +1 takes you to 84.
84.
And roll again.
85. Slowly but
Oh,
surely.
you've checked on my rolls.
86.
6. Oh, this is painful. Oh,
87.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. One more.
88. Oh, poor Hazra is still damaged
Juno.
from falling off the boulder.
That's right.
6 more.
I'd like to tract, which currently is 81. I'll do
Okay, then.
three of those.
3 of those then.
Oh,
1d4 plus
wow.
1.
So, 1. Oh, get off D4. D4.
How many times are you rolling that d4?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. I was clicking the ones at the top. Sorry.
I'll just keep rolling it until I get a
we
4.
go.
Yes!
There we go.
Why isn't that? Oh, yeah, 3. That's 4. So +4. So that's going to take it to 85.
85.
Okay, so do 1d100. How do you guys do it so fast?
So
Because
you just go onto the dice roll and it says last 10 rolls, so you just click it again.
Oh, okay.
I copy pasted.
yes, that's a
96.
nice one.
So
And now you can just do the last
Reroll.
10 rolls as well. That's
that's
it.
really good. So 88.
2 fat ladies.
Yay! So then if I do my last one, go for it. Oh, no, it's +1, so 89.
89.
So then 2 in perception,
Okay.
which is currently at 79.
Okay.
I know
Nice.
that. 64, so that's 80.
80.
And then one more.
Yes.
Oh, let's do D4 plus 1.
4.
4. So 84 that is now.
Nice.
And the last one is going to be endurance, which is 78 at the moment. So, fingers crossed, I need this.
Oh.
79.
79.
Done. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And then on to Mr. Hengist, who just has 1 roll unless you've got anything saved up from last time.
Nope. Nothing saved up from last time. So 1 roll, no fumbles. I'm going to put it in endurance, which is currently at 79.
79. And your intelligence being
Oh, it's +11.
plus
so that's
11.
1. So that's just a 1. That's fine. That takes it up to 80.
Brilliant. Excellent. So yeah, I'll go off and rearrange the character sheets now with people's skills that are appearing down below when we're in the big screen mode. Is there anything else that anybody... There's not going to be a huge amount of time in between the last adventure and this adventure because nobody's learning any spells or anything. Is there anything that anybody would... Thank you for the host, Desperado_126. Much appreciated. Is there anything that anybody would like to sort of like say that they would like to do in this sort of like the minimum of downtime?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
In the conclusion of last adventure, Bartleby would have wanted to go and give the news that Sewer Jack had been defeated to Marigold. And all that.
Yeah.
Yes, assuming that we didn't already do that.
No, I don't think anybody mentioned it, but you're probably the sort of person to sort of like do that and sort of like say, you know, that things all the poor soul of Sewer Jack. The story. I wonder if the story will live on. That would be the exciting thing. So yeah. So Marigold is really, you know, she does thank you because initially she came to you and begged you to to investigate her daughter's death, murder, and so she's eternally grateful to you and actually does comment that she will try even harder to actually come to church now on the festivals days and to worship and give praise to Amriel, although she does reiterate that it's just maybe she'll try hard, you know, but Bartleby probably accepts that in the sense that, you know, things are getting small steps to bring people to the church. Very small steps. Anybody else?
Yes. Obviously, I'm still going. When I go home to my hut, I'm still wandering out in the wilderness and taking notes or observing, shall I say, rather than taking notes of the change in things. But after that, Hazra would like to go to the Church of Amiel. He doesn't like the city that much. He will still go to there, and he just wants to see why he wants to go there and just sit in one of these wooden seats and ask Amriel why he is the chosen one, why she has chosen him. Yes.
So you'll probably look around and see what other people are doing. When you walk in with your sort of like outdoor garb on and your spear, there are some looks. I have to be honest with you, and Bartleby will probably be quite shocked because there's definitely some down the noses look at you.
Hazra's uncomfortable walking there himself. He's not. He doesn't. You know. He's like, but he knows through Bartleby that Amriel is a good God, and you know she's done wondrous things. But why has she spoken to him?
Yeah, and it's you get this feeling that, you know, it's it doesn't appear that all the priests or acolytes actually maybe sharing Amriel's goodness and acceptance. And you sort of like go into the main area and you sort of like have a look, and just, they seem to be sat down and bowing their heads, and you sort of like try to mimic what they're actually doing. But let me just do a roll. But rather disappointingly, maybe that Hazra hears nothing. You don't hear anything at all. It's almost like as if you would probably want to hear that voice once again in your head, that calming voice, that blissfully, almost like lyrical singing voice in your head. But at this point, you know, nothing actually comes of it. Okay, anyone else?
No, thank you.
Nope, I'm all right.
Okay then. So, just before we start, I just need to give you the same warning as I gave you in the Discord. Tonight's game, or tonight's session, really relies on restricting yourselves to what you actually know and not what is actually going on, if that makes sense. So you will be hard pressed tonight to keep metagaming to a bare minimum. Well, it shouldn't be there at all, because there's going to be some strange things happening. And I did consider sort of like telling people to take headphones off and things like that, but no, I thought you're all
We're all adults, aren't we?
yeah, you're all experienced role players, so hopefully things will be.
I'll just take mine off.
Yeah. I'll take mine off actually. Yeah, so you sort of like have your downtime and you practice your skills either in your order or doing some workouts here, there and everywhere, praying to Amriel, spending some time out in the countryside, out of the city walls. And it's during this time when you are all separately in your places of your abode. So Hengist in his gentry house, in his mansion with his manservant, Hazra out with your cottage, Bartleby in the church, and Gulliver in your orders, that you actually receive via the bluebirds. So those, remember, are the carrier pigeons of the Blue Order, and they come to you and pass on various messages. And Gulliver and Bartleby, you get a written form. Hazra, just roll your literacy skill for me, because I know you have one. And Hengist, if you have literacy as well, feel free to write.
Hengist is illiterate.
Yeah, and you seem to be able to make out some words of it, Hazra, and sort of like trying to piece together. But the bluebird helps you, and the message is actually from a new guild mistress. And if you remember, there is a merchant order within Lindo that is a guild, and they look after the general welfare. And a few months ago now, or probably a month ago, you actually did some work for them, guarding the guild mistress. And during that time, you sort of like protected her the best way you could, but in the end you actually managed to yet again save the day, and the guild mistress sort of like left very happily and very impressed with your work. And if you remember, she even said to you all, here is a favour that you can ask of the guild any time you wish, in as well as some monetary value, that coinage that they gave to you. But time has passed, and this seems to be from the new guild mistress. If you remember, you're not too sure what the hierarchical situation was within the guild. There was talk of, if the guild mistress, the big one, went down, then the second in command would take over. But it's not the big guild mistress that we're talking about. It's a guild mistress of the Lindo area. And if you remember, the one before that was called... Do you remember who was in charge of...
I'll have to go back in my notes.
There was two people.
We didn't ask their name initially, so it didn't.
No, you had to give them to us.
I can tell you if you wish. I can tell you. The woman was called Eliza Elmsworth.
That's right, yes.
And the guy was called Boris Beckencall. which I thought was a wonderful name. So those were the two corrupt ones that left. And there seems to be a new guild mistress on the block in charge of the merchant area. And it seems to be called, she goes under the name of Lady Violet. You know that it's not, lady tends not to be an indication of rank in the guild merchants, but it's almost as if her name is Lady first name, second name Violet. And this information has come to you, and you've been invited. If you remember, the guild mistress or the guild actually threw a party. Can you remember that? And then you had to guard the guild mistress after it. And it appears that you are invited to it's not a party, it seems to be more of a formal dinner, and you're due to arrive about 8 o'clock on the night, and things have been going well. You finished up your general daytime duties, your daily duties, and you are all about to set off from your individual locations and make your way to the guild mistress. And we're going to start out in the countryside, because out in the countryside is where Mr. Hazra lives. And this, well, let me just go to the small screen. Here we have Mr. Hazra's house.
That's my house.
It is your house.
I don't know why I have 2 beds, but that's my house.
Well, I was just about to say the reason.
Your pet pig.
The reason you've got 2
Yes.
beds is just in case you have some company.
Like Bartleby.
But then I'd have to screw that blood off the floor.
Yeah, well, you know, it's you don't always clean up. And your character seems to be a bit small there, but yeah, there you are. And night is settling in, and you're sort of like preparing yourself. This is your front door here. These brown things here are little windows, and they're all shuttered and ready to for you to leave and make your way to the guild house for this evening's gathering. And although you're not accustomed to dressing up, Hazra, but you've sort of like washed your undergarments.
I've been down to the stream, and I've had a wash in the stream, cold. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, and you sort of like tried your best to brighten up your white linen, padded armor, and you are quite happy, about to leave. The fire has burnt down. It's just like embers, so you know that when you get back, it will be nice. And yeah, and I would like you, please, to make for me a perception check.
Certainly.
Yeah, and you're sort of like busily finishing off the last sort of like preparations, and you're quite used to being out in the countryside and the normal noises and the unfamiliar noises, and you suddenly catch the sound of voices. And this is really unusual out in the countryside, especially when it's sort of like you're about a half an hour walk from Lindo, and you know, when night comes in, it really sort of like quietens off. The animals are roosting, and
I love this quiet.
Yeah, and you can definitely hear some noises outside, some talking. Also, it's very hushed. You're not too sure who it is or where they are, but you can definitely hear them. What would you like to do?
Hazra did not have the intention of taking his spear with him, so he will move over and pick up his spear, and he will move himself to the side of the door here, and he will press his ear against the wooden wall to see if we can pick up what people are saying.
Okay, yeah. So make another perception roll for me. Yeah, you sort of like listen out, and there's definitely multiple voices. They're whispering in hushed tones, but you catch various glimpses or various section of the voices, and they seem to be discussing whether or not this is the right house, the right cabin. And they seem to be saying things like, is this the one? Are we meant to be here? Are you sure this is the one? You know, they seem to be quite a distance off. They're not on the opposite side of the wall or anything like that. And hence you're just sort of like hearing glimpses of it.
Trying to focus harder, and it's like a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so Hasriel then, he's hearing that. He will go to his back window, he will open it, and he will scuttle outside through the window if he can.
Yeah, so you sort of like open the window, and you're
as stealthily as possible.
You're about to embark out of it. Just roll your stealth for me. Yeah, and you sort of like open it really quietly and slowly try to get out. And all of a sudden you hear this twang noise, and you sort of like all of a sudden just by the side of you twangs into the wood of your precious house. Driving about halfway down into the wood arrives a crossbow bolt. And you suddenly, luckily you're quite stealthy, so it was going to miss in any case. But you can see, you sort of like quickly trace back, and you can see that the back window appears to have been guarded. And there's a guy that seems to be in leather. He seems to have some kind of axe over his back, and he's just fired off a crossbow bolt. And just as you do that and the bolt goes off and you sort of like manage to duck out the way back into the thing, he shouts out in a gruff voice. He says, "He's trying to escape!" And we will leave you there. Now, Bartleby, you are having quite a pleasant night. You've fulfilled your duties to Amriel. You've done your general worship, and you're aware that tonight is going to be a full moon. And this means that although there's a lot of worship, Amriel doesn't tend to worship. The clerics don't worship all together. They like their solitude, and they like to look upon the moon themselves and listen to Amriel talking to them. And your church, it seems unusual for tonight, because as you sort of like walk through your church, you notice that you're probably the last person to go, which seems unusual because normally they're your priests, or they're your high priest, and even some younger initiates are there. But it seems rather strange that they've all obviously left. They've gone to their abodes. Obviously, you don't sleep in the church. You sleep completely somewhere else. You know, you're not heathens. You know, you wouldn't sleep in the church. And you sort of like look around, and you're making sure that the candles or the lamps are burning bright, and you're looking forward to the evenings of solitude and to worship Amriel, and really sort of like feel at one with your goddess. So this is your church, as you are aware, and you can see that it's highly decorative and casting Amriel's shadow throughout. And you notice that there you can see in the entrance hall here at the beginning that the twin moons are depicted just as they should be. That is just not one moon, it's two. And you sort of like check around, and you eventually wow, you're big.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you see how big you came on?
What's that coming over the hill? It's a Bartleby.
It's a Bartleby. And you sort of like head off to sort of like leave the church, which the entrance is just down here, and you sort of like head off, and just as you approach the door, there seems to be a sound that sounds like thud, thud, thud on the door. They're quite heavy oaken doors, and it's something that is, they're not likely to be opened by yourself. There is one of those little smaller doors inside the big doors, if you know what I mean, that you can actually get through. But you sort of like hear this knocking. What would you like to do?
Well, seeing as there's not really any other priests on duty right now, it sounds like it's up to me to answer the door. So I'll stroll confidently up to the door. And I guess there's no like little visual area that I can look through. It's you just open the door.
You literally just open the door. Yeah, it's
okay. I'll put my best face on and open up the door to see who needs help.
Yeah, and you open the door, and I've just lost my character. My character.
Monster.
It happens.
I know what I should do is just.
I've just lost my six-headed demon.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
they need help too.
We'll put this character on here.
All is welcome at the Church of Amriel.
And
apart from Amriel's evil brother.
He's not evil. He's misunderstood.
Yeah. You notice that as you open the little side door, you open it, and there seems to be somebody stood on the opposite side of it. He seems to be quite well dressed, and he is looking around, and as you sort of like approach him or talk to him, he definitely sort of like seems to be expecting you or somebody to open the door. What would you like to say?
I'll greet him and say, "Hello, I'm Bartleby Fumus, Initiate of Amriel. How can I help you?"
He says, my name's Brian. I had a message to come here and escort you to the guild house
for the dinner, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, that'd be wonderful.
I'm not too sure what is happening actually at the place, but yeah, I just got a message saying, "Come here at this time and escort the acolyte." Well, yeah, the initiate Bartleby to the merchant guild in Lindo.
I'm happy for some company. I wasn't looking forward to the dark walk.
Yeah, he says, "Will I get paid when I get there or not?"
Probably when we get there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the contract is with them. So yeah, he said so. Shall we get underway?
I'm assuming Bartleby is all dressed and ready to go.
All dressed and ready, yeah.
I should probably take my bloodletting knife just in case. No, I'm not going to. I'll just go on out.
Yeah,
Brian.
And Brian sort of like steps slightly back and away, and you sort of like step out of the door, and it's at this point that you hear definitely a twang and a whoosh, and not a huge whoosh, but a whoosh. You've heard it once before. There was a very similar sound when those knives were thrown at the at the guild house not so long ago, but there's this whoosh, and you don't have time to sort of like react at all. You just hear them coming. Right, I just need to do some roly-polies. I just need to bring up their character sheet of the two-headed zombie bandits. Here we go.
Perfect. Zombie bandits.
Zombie bandits. Just what you wanted to see. But let me just do that to call up his character sheet. Yeah, they actually... where is it? Bandit. 2. That's the one I want to kill. Yeah, they seem quite... you sort of like see them out in the distance. They seem to be dressed up in what appears to be leather garb. And when you hear the noise and you turn round or look out into the streets, and you can see that there seems to be... Make a perception roll for me.
I would gladly do that. I was on the right page. Perception. Pow. Ah.
Yeah, there seems to be literally that you can see at the moment 6 of them, and 3 of them are just releasing crossbow bolts. 1, 2. Oh, the last one was a 52 out of 52. Cool. They come shooting across, and they hit the guy. One of
Brian?
Yeah. They don't seem to have been aimed at you. They seem to be more aimed at him. And these crossbow bolts come into him in the following locations. In his 5, which I think is a leg.
Left.
Yeah, into his left leg. His 17, which is his left arm. And his 14, which is his right arm. So they sort of like twang in. His armor seems to have protected him somewhat, but he almost like they've hit him with quite a bit of force, and he staggers back, and he turns to you, and sort of like as he yanks one out of his arm, he says, "Quick, back inside the church!" and almost like pushes you in, and he grabs the door behind him and slams it shut. And as he does that, you hear another 3 or 4 crossbow bolts go into the door. They haven't come through it, hasn't punctured it, but you can definitely hear that. And we're going to leave you right there. And we're going to zip back, and next up we are going to see what happens to Hengist on his way to the guild house. Hengist, you sort of like left your abode. The guild likes pomp and circumstance, so you're in your full armour, your weapons, and you're heading down Gentry Hill from the Noble Hill in Lindo, and you started to make your way through the common or the commoner areas, and you suddenly become very much aware that the streets around you seem unnaturally quiet. There's definitely there seems to be nobody around. A lot of the buildings seem to be shut, and even buildings that you thought would still be open, maybe some fine wine areas or places to have something to eat, appear to be shut. And you're rather unnerved about this. Something isn't quite right. But then you suddenly notice that up ahead there are some people. I'm just going to move you to your map. Chink. Here's your map here. And as you sort of like start to walk, as you're walking down, just putting your character on now. As you sort of like walking down, feeling a bit unnerved, you suddenly notice that up ahead there are some individuals. And you notice, I'll just put you back to the top, they seem to be quite casually leaning up against various walls and doorways, etc. And they seem to be dressed, they seem to have some kind of leather armor on. You can see from where you are that they seem to be carrying crossbows, and then what appears to be some kind of battle axe on them as well. And they seem to be almost like blocking the street. The guy with the red dot on him, he's the one who seems to be addressing you during this sort of like conversation exchange. And the first thing that happens, you notice that they sort of like as you approach and you slow yourself down, because something is definitely amiss here. As you slow yourself down and your hand wanders over to the hilt of your sword, the guy with the red dot on turns round to you and says, well, can you see what we've got here, guys? It's the infamous, the famous, the lord of all he prevails over. It is the mighty Hengist. And some of them seem to do mock bows, and there seems to be a whole load of laughter. And the guy continues to say, and tell me, Lord Hengist, and there's another giggle, what are you doing out on a time like this?
Well, it seems that my reputation has hit somewhat of a lower end of the fish pond, but I don't see what business it is of yours.
The one with the red dot says, fish pond, and he turns to one of the people next to him and says, I think that was a joke at our expense. And you notice that the one to his right, this one here, sort of like he levers himself up off the wall and brings his crossbow round to bear. And as he does that, you notice that the other one and the captain, the one with the red dot on, also brings his crossbow up, and he says to you, he says, you have been very bad, Mr. Hengist, and we have a friend who would like to make a bit of a, shall we say, revenge on you. And so we are here to execute that revenge. I'm sure this is going to be a wonderful time for us all. And we will leave you there and come back ready for initiative shortly. Gulliver, you know...
Have we been given a bit of warning about this this party thing that we're going to?
Yeah, as mentioned, the Bluebirds sent you the letter. And you are ready to go, and you've arranged to meet the rest of your party down at the guild house, and to be honest with you, you're quite looking forward to this because they have quite a good amount of cheese at parties, and you know that the people will want to please you and sort of like make sure that you are looked after, and you head down to the guild house, hopefully to meet the rest of your group at the guild house. And if you remember, this is the guild house here.
Yeah. He's probably bought some new clothes to go in. Probably a nice doubler of blue and some new breeches, maybe even some new boots, because he doesn't normally get much chance to buy new clothes. But going to a party, especially one where, there's going to be lots of good cheese, and he's probably going to splash out some of the money that he's now got stowed away and get a decent set, maybe to attract some of the young ladies that might be.
Yes, and you're looking quite dapper in your sort of like your outfit. And the first thing that you notice as you make your way down is that you come into the area of the guild house, and if you remember, this is quite a popular place. It's that if you remember, the surrounding area was nice and lit last time you were here, and it was very sort of like up and class and very nice. And you sort of like suddenly notice that one in every other light or something like that has been extinguished on the streets. There's a lot of darkness and shadows around the place, but it'd be nice, and Hengist and Bartleby and Hazra be there, and you almost like jog up to the guild.
Have I arranged to meet them inside, have I?
Well, it's either inside or out. The arrangement was to meet at the guild house, but even if you're going to wait outside, the thing that you next see is rather strange, because you notice that the door in front of you is slightly ajar. But that is not the strange thing. The strange thing is that there is no noise coming from inside. There's no noise, and there's no smells, and what's even more unnerving is that there's no light. And just make a perception roll for me.
I got 51 stuff.
And then you sort of like listen in and try to hear what's going on, and you're suddenly aware that there's no noise from within. No noise at all. It seems to be quite unusual.
Has he passed anybody else going to the...
No, not at all. And this is what sort of like makes everything somewhat strange. You can't really understand what is happening. There should be more people here. There should be, your friends should be here. Everybody should be here. And it's while you're sort of like there that you hear a noise behind you, and you look around, and there seems to be a female. She's definitely a merchant. She seems to be dressed up in some finery, and she seems to be very purposefully walking to the guild house. And you sort of like thought, oh, is this the only other person that's coming? And she sort of like walks down to where she is. Can you see her on the map now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she sort of looks up and says, Master Gulliver?
Hi. I think we might be a bit early. I don't think anybody else has arrived yet. Either that or it's one of those surprise parties that when we go in, everybody's going to say, yes, it's Gulliver. And
she sort of like says, I got your message to meet you here. I'm not too sure
any message.
I'm not too sure whether or not we're actually acquainted. And she comes up the stairs and she sort of like puts out her hand, not in a threatening manner at all. She seems to be rather pleasant, and she sort of like puts out her hand and she sort of like says to you, yeah, my name is Merchant Margot. I don't think we've met. I run quite a small area of the town to do with a range of commerce, but I am somewhat surprised that I'm not too sure that I know you. So your note did leave me somewhat dismayed, mainly because I don't know such a handsome chap as yourself. And she looks up and the door slightly ajar, and she says, just out of interest, why are we meeting here?
I haven't sent you a note. I'm here for the party that Lady Violet's throwing. I've been invited because, well, we've worked for the guild before.
And Margot sort of like,
I definitely haven't sent you a note. I don't normally send people notes. I don't know people to send notes to. Well, if I want to speak to Bartleby or Hengist, well, I go round to Hengist's house, and if I want to speak to Bartleby, well, we do it other ways. But I definitely haven't sent you a note. Do you have it?
She says, yes. And as you're busy talking outside, she suddenly looks towards the door, and the partly open door, as you are having this conversation outside. And as if she seems to be listening to you, then all of a sudden moves her face to the actual doorway. And she reaches inside her robes, and she doesn't take her eyes off the narrow crack of the doorway, and she sort of like pulls out what appears to be a slip of paper, and that is folded in half, a single leaf of parchment. And still looking at the doorway, she sort of like hands it over to you, and you open it up, and it's definitely not your handwriting. You definitely did not write this, but there seems to be the message is exactly what Margot has said, and it's signed underneath by the words Gulliver, and it just literally says, please meet me at the guild house 11 o'clock on this very same evening. We have matters most urgent to discuss. And as you read it and she's looking into the room, you suddenly hear quite clearly a chair falling over inside. It clatters for a while, and then Margot turns to you. Well, she doesn't turn to you. She directs her whisper to you as she carries on looking at the crack of the window. And she says, Master Gulliver, it would appear that we're not alone. And she puts her robe back, her cloak back on one side, and her hand slowly curls round the hilt of what appears to be some kind of foil or rapier or sword. And you just see her hands going over the hilt, and she just inches it out a little bit, and she says, I get the feeling, Gulliver, that you should get ready to actually defend yourself. And with that, we will nip over to Hazra. And at this point, what I would like you to do, and you won't be able to put. Oh yes, we can. I'm going to move you all back to the starting point. And at this point, what I would like you to do is that I would like you all to roll your initiative scores. That's what I would like you to roll. Make sure it should be assigned to your character. If not, we can add it later. 42. Yeah.
The meaning of life.
8 plus 42 is
50.
Okay, so I'm going to just call them that. What did I get? 8, 40. And then
Does Brian get a roll?
yeah, they're just coming on now. They have the same skills, so I'm going to keep them together on that. Okay then, let's stick you in some form of order. Like that. And this will now, it will move with us. So once I move across to Hazra's house, combat, you should still be able to see the combat. So we'll go into. I'm not saying that when we come back to you, you will be in combat. I just want to get it over and done with, so it's out there. Hazra.
Yep.
So you sort of like ducked back into as this crossbow bolt buried itself into the side of the house. What would you like to do?
Well, first thing Hazra will do, will slam the shutters closed again and bar them.
Yeah. So hang on. So just as you shut it and bar them. So if you make a brawn roll, then we'll use that as the strength of your blockade. Yeah. Okay then. So for me now, it's an easy roll on 55. That's what it'd be. So easy 55. Unless you wish to use a point of luck.
No. This is all on the fly. So
Yeah.
it's doing it. Yeah.
So you sort of like slam them shut and pick up something that could sort of like wedge them. And yeah, what else? What else would you like to do?
The next thing he will do will be move to back to where he was, that side of the door, spear in hand, ready for anything to come through that door. While watching, so what he's doing is watching the door, but his peripheral vision, he's also watching the window.
Yeah, you probably
at the back as well,
making sure that he's scanned around. And
Yes.
if you remember, the guy out in the forest had said he's over here, and there seems to be some commotion outside for a period of time, and then you hear a rather gruff voice shouting, and he seems to shout out and said, "Come out. Come out. Come out, little piggy. We have the place surrounded, and we would like to put you on a skewer."
Hazra will remain silent.
And you're silent for a while, and then almost mockingly, using a rhyme that you have not heard before, but they seem to have heard, and laugh at it. And the guy shouts out again, come out, or we will have to burn your house down."
Where's the voice coming from? Front. Side, from the front, right? Okay. I'll move across map.
Can I just say, it's really nice that you have the background noise of the birds. It's really creating a wonderful
Oh,
ambience.
sorry.
I know. I wasn't being sarcastic. I was just saying it's
The ambience. Yeah.
I feel that I'm out in the countryside. What would you like to do?
What Hazard would like to do is perhaps douse the lights in this place, in my house. I want to make it completely black or as dark as possible, while leaving the embers glowing, so I do have a faint glow to see through.
That's absolutely fine. So you sort of like pinch out the candles, and that is lighting in here, and the embers are still glowing, which giving you some light within here. I mean,
and then the next,
sorry. No, go for it.
The next thing I want to do is just gently open this window here, while teasing it open gently, just so as quietly as possible.
Yeah. So roll your stealth skill for me. Yeah, and you sort of like slowly ease it open and start to just push it, and your stealth has prevented you being hit. That's what I'm doing. So if you succeed in your stealth, you don't get hit, rather than having to use another evade roll or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And as you sort of like push it open, you hear a twang and a whoosh, and just you sort of like opening it this way, and all of a sudden you notice straight in there comes another crossbow bolt, and you hear from that side of the house, "He's trying to get out here." And the original voice says, "Mr. Hazra, we have you surrounded. Come out, or we will burn your house down." And with that, we're going to skip to Mr. Bartleby. So this guy has 3 crossbow bolts in him. The door is shut behind you, and he's sort of like staggered in, and maybe they haven't impaled him, maybe they just scraped in, and you notice that there's some blood on him, but his armor has seemed to protect him for any sort of like lethal damage. He's still upright, he's not passing unconscious or anything, and he turns to you, and he sort of like looks at you, and looks at his wounds, and looks at you and says, and his hand does wander over to his blade, his sword that's at his waist, and he turns to you and says, "Friends of yours?"
Definitely not. I want to move towards him with my hands out to try and cure his blade arm.
Yeah, and as you sort of like take a step towards him, he sort of like takes a step back and puts up his almost like his guarding hand and says, "Wait, you just stay there. What's this about?" And you notice that his hand shakes a bit, and the leg wound seems to be bleeding.
Well, I don't know what it's about, but I should heal your injuries before you lose too much blood.
He looks at you and he says, "You are Master Bartleby, correct?"
Yeah, that's what some people call me.
And he sort of like, he keeps his hand on the hilt of his sword, and he reaches inside and pulls out a piece of parchment that has been folded in several bits, and he holds it out, and then you sort of like look at it, and he just leaves go of it, and it just sort of like floats to the floor, and he says, "No fast movements, Mr. Bartleby. I've heard that you theists can actually cause quite a bit of damage. Tell me. And his finger points down to the parchment. Is that the note you sent me? What would you like to do?
I'll give him my puzzled face and then slowly use my horrible hands to try and pick up the paper and read it.
Yeah, and you sort of like unfold it, and it reads in common tongue. There's a few spelling errors, and it says, I wish to hire you to escort me from the Church of Amriel to the guild house. I will be prepared to pay the princely sum of 20 silver pieces. Thank you, Master Bartleby. And then in brackets it says, Initiate of the Church of Amriel.
Well, this all looks like it's coming from me, but I certainly have no memory of sending you a letter, Brian.
So, if you are not with them, and he sort of like glances over his shoulder at the door, were they trying to attack you? And he looks at his wounds, almost like took a shot for you.
I greatly appreciate you taking a shot for me, because I certainly can't take much of a shot. But that's why I would be more than happy to give you the healing services of the church for free.
All of a sudden, there seems to be a thud at the door, and Brian sort of like turns around and starts to lower down the bar that comes across, and he says, I just thought I want to use that wonderful quote. That's what is it? Whatever you're going to do it now. Or do it quickly. Is it? I
don't know.
I thought
Do it now. Do it now.
I thought Chuggerwugger might have come in there with an alien.
Whatever you're going to do.
I think
now.
I think he's asleep. Oh no, he moved. He's moved.
He's alive!
And
I wasn't going to metagame.
and he sort of like turns round and sort of like drops it, drops the bolt. What spell would you like to use on him?
I'm presuming he's not seriously wounded based on your description, so I wanted to use my regular quick heal, this bad boy.
Okay, yeah.
And my preference was for for all of his wounds over time, but first would be his blade arm.
Yeah, okay then. Go for it.
And here is my roll. I'm ready to use luck.
Yeah. Oh, a nice palindrome there. 2772. So you sort of like start to sort of like pray to Amriel, and the moonlight cascades from your hands. And you notice that his minor wounds, his sword arm one, immediately seizes up and stops the flow, and he sort of like flexes it, puts his hand on the sword hilt, and quite deftly goes whoosh, and draws it and puts it down almost in like a defensive position, and he sort of like looks at his arm, and he glances up and says, "Thank you, but I think we might have a bigger problem, because if they're not after me and they're not after you, and you didn't send that note, then maybe they're after us both."
Well, that's... At least we're in it together. Oh no, that's not good. I might need to get my cohorts involved in this.
Well, I think we definitely need to do something soon. And there's an almighty sort of like thud at the door. It's not a knock. It sounds very much like the blade of a battle axe whacking into the wood. And Brian turns to you and says, what should we do? And we will leave you there and nip across to Hengist, who is over here. Yes, Master Hengist, what would you like to do?
Hengist is seeing that there's 6 men armed with crossbows in the middle of the street, is going to dart into that alleyway immediately.
Okay then, so we'll go into combat then, and you this will be on round 1, turn 1. On 17, you use your movement to get to where?
So I can't move
Oh,
Hengist,
sorry.
but he's there.
Hang on, I can make you so
thank
you'll
you.
be able to move him. Where are you? You're right after the poisonous spiders.
Yes.
Right, you should be able to move him now.
So there, and then he's going to use his free action to ward location as well. With his
Okay,
shield.
yeah. Okay then, so...
Shut the front door.
And then...
I finally read my post-it.
And then on 14, they move. So one of them moves here. One of them moves here. One of them moves. He's slightly round. Yeah. So they will move there on 14. Yeah. It will come back to you for turn 2.
Okay. Hengist is because he's not very familiar with this alleyway. He's going to mind. He is going. He's in combat range if he moves. No, he's going to stay where he is. He's going to. He is going to back slightly down into the. No, sorry, change my mind again. He's going to move back slightly further down into the alleyway. Keep it, but he's walking backwards carefully and slowly.
Okay.
Keeping the shield in between the crossbows that are aimed at him and him.
Yeah. So you sort of like move a little way back, but you're still in range of the crossbow bolts as 3 of them come flying out on their next action. So you will have 1 action point left, I think, just to move and move. So let me roll what we get. The first one will hit. Do you wish to do anything with it?
No, he's because he's got his ward location up. He's sheltering behind his shield.
Okay. First one hits. Second one misses. And third one hits. What's your location set at?
Oh, what for my ward location?
Yeah.
It is left arm, abdomen, and chest.
Okay then. So there's 2 hits coming in. The first one will hit your 19.
That's my head.
So that doesn't have.
No,
ward.
it doesn't have ward location.
Okay then. Oh, hang on. I've got it up here.
Shield over like this, so you can see over the top of it.
Okay, so this goes into your 5 points of damage goes. So it'll take off your armor points first from your head, and then anything left.
There's nothing left.
Okay, so that twangs in, and there's the second one
Does it stick? Does it stick in?
No, they weren't impaling. This second.
Is that a exterminate?
The second one, yeah.
Exterminate.
The second one hits you in your 2.
Which is my right leg.
Is that warded?
No.
Okay. And this goes for 8 points of damage.
Maths. Okay.
Okay. Are you minorly wounded?
I have 3 out of 6 points left.
Okay. And that sort of like whacks into your leg. And we'll come back. You have 1 combat. Oh, we'll do your combat action next. You've got 1 point left.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you like to do?
So now that the 3 of them in front of him have shot their crossbows, I just want to double check that I'm in range. Where's my Rubicon? Where has the Rubicon?
It's the one that looks like a circle with a little bit is underneath my magnifying glass.
Yeah, I've got snap to center.
Yeah,
Snap.
that's it.
Oh yeah. That is within his walking distance, so he's going to move into combat with that guy.
Okay, cool.
Drawing his sword at the same time, if possible. If not, that's fine.
Yeah, okay then. So you sort of like walk, you can draw your sword as you walk, and these probably come out and hit you as you come across there. Gulliver, what would you like to do? This is your call now because we're coming over to you. Would you like to play your bit out and then have the break, or would you like to have the break and then we'll come back straight away to you?
No, we'll play my bit out.
Okay,
so
then.
with,
Yeah.
With Margot saying it's best to prepare to defend yourself, Gulliver sort of like looks at her and then sort of like almost like takes a step towards her and says, I don't usually defend myself. I normally have Hengist to do that.
And she says, she sort of like finishes drawing her rapier, and she sort of like
I didn't write this note.
she sort of like puts her hand sort of like out around you and slowly herds you backwards into a fashion that she's actually in front of you and she's protecting you now. And she turns to you and says, Gulliver, I think that is actually irrelevant now. I am not too sure who is within. And she sort of like has a quick look outside and says, or who is out here? Do you have a plan of action?
My only plan was to meet girls and eat cheese, and that's not going to work now.
No.
Perhaps we should just, if there's no party, perhaps we should just go.
You just want to leave?
What, you want to go inside?
It's your call, she says.
Perhaps I can just have a quick look, but without opening the door.
She seems to look puzzled, but she says, I am aware that certain magic can actually do that. Do you need me to do anything? Slit a wrist? Behead a local crow? Eat a pig's heart?
Well, I was more thinking if you could just be my eyes and ears out here when I have a look inside. I won't be moving from this spot.
She says, don't worry, Master Gulliver. I will protect you. I can be both your eyes, your ears, your sense of smell, and even your touch, if needed. Yeah, what spell would you like to cast?
If you need me back, kick me, but not too hard, and on the leg, but not my right leg because, well, the left leg. So the spell that I want to cast, I want to do this spell here. I want to project sight, which is at magnitude 1. The range is going to be 15 meters on one target. So components modified is going to be 1. So it's going to take me 2 turns to cast.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost me 2 magic points to do. So basically, Gulliver starts to form his spell. As he does so, he closes his eyes. And then when he opens again, his eyes are just sort of like all mirrored water with a sort of like swirling effect. And he's now blind.
Yeah.
Himself, but his vision is almost like in another body, which is intangible. So he can go, and all he's going to do is just going to go straight through the door.
Yeah.
Into the room beyond.
So you sort of like pass into this room, and the only light from here. I'm going to move you onto the ground floor one. Just don't worry about it.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's.
Is that body still there?
That body is a bit now.
Smells of almonds.
So you can see in here and in this fireplace here, there is the embers of a fire, and there seems to be enough light for you to see shapes, but not actually who they are. You know, facial recognition isn't that good at the moment, and you can definitely see that inside, crouched behind these benches here. Can you see them? Yeah. You can see that there are a couple of what appears to be leather-clad individuals. They are both crouched behind the benches, and you can see that they have their crossbow bolts out and armed and ready to fire, thus on the bench, you know, and you can tell quite easily as you slowly waft in wraith-like in your intangible form that you sort of like, you can see that they're both aiming directly at the door. It would take almost like a miracle for them to actually miss anything that actually came through. Is there anything you would like to do while you're in here?
Can I cast another spell whilst using this spell?
Yeah, doesn't it say something like that in the spell description?
Yeah, that's the bit that we were going to read up to see how it. So underneath the let me bring it up. Sorcery spell description.
Oh yes, it's. I'm sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. It's actually under project sense. It's called Death from Afar. Yeah.
And it says, although project sense is often used to search or spy for remote yet secure locations, its main advantage is that it enables a sorcerer to cast spells at extreme range.
Yeah.
So I know where the people are. So the spell that I want to cast, which is going to be this one here. I'm just going to link it in when I get onto the correct thing. Sorry, I'm not on my right. So I want to cast this spell. Duration is going to be that. Range is going to be that. Number of targets is going to be that. Components modified 2. Did it come up? Yes. So that's the spell that I want to cast. It's going to take me 3 turns to cast.
Okay.
The other thing that you needed from me was that for my first roll, my project sense, which only just came in because I didn't do my invocation roll for it. So that was for my first spell.
Why is it saying 96 out of 99 in a cross?
I was wondering that.
Don't know. Maybe something's changed.
Is your spell a 99?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think let me just check this, and I don't understand why it's doing it, but I think it's under skills. I think. Culture, how skills work. There are certain special cases concerning success and failure that should be noted. Any roll of 1 to 5 is a success. Any roll of a 96 to 100 is always a failure, irrespective of how high the skill goes.
Okay, I'll use point of luck to swap
So
them.
a fumble is a 99 or 100, but if your skill is over 100, then it just becomes 100 that actually fumbles. So that's why it's saying it, because it's a failure. So yeah, you can use a point of luck to reverse it to 69. Yeah.
Okay, so my hold fast spell is going to take 3 turns to cast, so 18 seconds.
Yeah,
is that right?
yeah. That's not a huge amount.
And basically, what I'm doing is I'm casting it onto the bolts in the crossbows.
Okay then. So are you expending shaping points to increase the targets, etc.?
Yeah, so I've done shaping point to do the range, so from touch to 15 meters, and the a shaping point to change the number of targets from 1 to 2.
Okay, yeah.
Now, will this be now at a hard roll? Because I already have a...
Yeah, because you're casting 2 spells, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've already got 1 spell cast, but
Yeah,
I'm now casting the other one. So this is going to be the roll for the...
Oh! You're on fire tonight!
I know, that's a point though. And I'm going to use another point of luck. I can use it because, of course, the other one was for a previous spell, not that one, to re-roll that.
Cool.
Which failed.
Yeah. So you try to hold fast the bolts into the crossbow bolts, and you've never done this before ever. So not surprisingly, you probably need to do a little bit more practice in order to get it. And although there was a bit of luck, not even luck was good enough in this situation. So with that, we will leave it there for the break. How exciting. And so when we come back, Hazra will be coming back to you.
I know exactly what I'm going to do though.
Excellent. So we're going to have a quick 10-minute break. So the time is 8:46. So we will be back about 8:56. Yeah. So nearly at 9 o'clock. So please do come back And go and stretch your legs, grab a drink, and we will see you in 10. And I'll press that button.
about that.
I have a gnome warlock that looks just like you.
This is a scary story, but I recently purchased Red Dead Redemption 2.
Amazing game.
And part of it is Red Dead Online, where it's sort of like it's sort of like a cowboy game, but you go online and there's other people there, so you join them for missions and stuff like that. But it comes up and it gives you sort of like 2 characters, but they're grayed out.
Right.
And you've got to, it says, you pick which one you are. So anyway, I picked the guy one, and it came out, and he walks into another room, still grayed out, and then it sort of like comes round, and it shows you what he looked like. And he looked identical to me. Honestly,
Excellent.
bald head, good looking, sort of like
Fine
real,
physique.
Square jaw.
chiseled
Yeah.
jaw.
Full head of hair.
Yeah. So I just quickly walked him back and took the girl and used her instead.
Excellent. So things have turned out to be a very interesting walk or meeting at the guild house. The party is currently separated out into 4 places, each with their own needs and issues to deal with, and we're flicking from character to character, and just to allow people to have that thinking time in between as we move along. And currently we are outside with Hazra in his house. He's tried to get out of a back window and nearly got skewered by a crossbow bolt. He's tried to get out the side window and nearly got skewed with a crossbow bolt. And he's probably getting to the point of thinking, this place might be surrounded. But what's even more exciting for me rather than him, the people who are trying to accost him has actually told him to come out, otherwise they will burn his house down. No blowing, just some burning. So yeah, Hazra, what would you like to do?
Okay, literally, this is seconds, isn't it? So literally, this crossbow bolt's gone straight into the wall next to him as he's opened the side window. The next thing Hazra will do will dive through a window, because he knows the reloading time of a crossbow. He'll be able to hopefully jump through there before he can fire again.
Okay then.
He'll jump out of he's going to use athletics to dive through the window, roll up, and he's going to leg it through the forest.
Okay.
He knows these woods. He knows what's outside the window.
Okay, so let's just move back a bit. So the first thing that you need to do is jump out of this window. Presume you're taking your spear with you.
Yes.
So this is going to be a hard roll to get out. Just to let you know, if you fail the hard roll, you can still use a point of luck if you have it. But if not, you will get out the building, but you will be prone outside, and that'll be the end of your action.
Yeah.
If you succeed, then you'll be outside, and that will be your action, and then the next action you can start to run for it. Yeah, excellent.
Wonderful.
Go for it then. This is a hard athletics roll. You just need to change.
In your face, fate.
You just need to change Medivac to.
Oh my God! Sorry. I'm such a noob.
And then roll it again.
And then roll it again. Yes.
Let's roll again. See what happens.
Okay.
Don't do that.
So you sort of like this. You sort of like open the window a bit, and all of a sudden the crossbow bolt goes in, and you sort of like take this opportunity that the person will be reloading, and you quickly sort of like push off from your spear and flick yourself quite deftly through the window onto the other side, ready to make your way away. Now, just to let you know, what we're going to do here.
Fortunately, you didn't take into account the other 2 people with crossbow.
No.
So we're going.
I don't know that, so I'm fine.
So can you see where I've put you? You're not really in front of the house now. You're off to the side.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, so just imagine the house is not there.
It's behind me.
Yeah, and you're sort of like ready to make a dash for it. And
Wonderful.
we will take that opportunity. We'll leave you there and come to Amriel's moon temple, which I think looks quite exquisite, even if I say so. Would you believe I actually found a floor plan called the Moon Temple?
I'll tell you what, I thought that was part of Mithras. Lovely, beautiful.
Yeah, see? Notice it's got further up, it's got all the phases of the moon up here. And
Yes.
it has the full moon and the dark moon as well.
I like the antechambers.
Yeah.
With the opposite phases on each side.
Aren't they cool?
And it has Pac-Man up here.
Yeah.
and here.
So, Bartleby, you've just healed Brian the mercenary, and you healed him of his wounds. And if you remember at the end of the last round, there was a mighty chunk as one of the battle axes hit the wooden door. Brian's sort of like right next to you now for the healing. So yeah, what would you like to do? Let me just, while you're doing that, I'm just going to put on the doors so you can see roughly where they are.
I just had a few questions before I move about my plan.
Yeah.
First question was, did you just say wounds there? Like I healed all of the wounds?
No, you healed
okay.
his right arm. I think the spell only
It only affects one, but
Yeah.
I would need to put my magic lower if we had gone through all that healing.
No. I just
Gotcha.
his sword arm.
My second question is there some sort of system of making noise within this church, like a large bell, the center of the place that I could ring?
Probably up on the second or even the third floor. You know that the entrance to this is at the back. It's up at the end of this. I just put a brown square slightly off the map, but there's a set of curved stairs that go round the sides that actually go up to the second floor, and then there's a bell rope up there.
Okay. Well, for the temporary time being, I want to say to Brian, prepare to run, and then I want to start performing the healing on his leg.
Okay, he turns to you and says, "Run."
It's too many. I saw 6 out there. That's
6?
That's too many.
Okay, you take 1 and I'll take the other 5. I wanted somebody to say, and I'm outnumbered 20-1. Okay, you take 2 and I'll take 18. It's from a Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Oh, okay. I thought this was just really, really cool.
Real men would stand and fight. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I think we've been over this. Bartleby's not a tough guy.
He sort of like turns to you and says, "Run? Are you serious?" There's another woof at the door, and then there seems to be a like that as they're obviously prying the axe out of the door. Roll your exhort. Oh no, is it folk magic? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just using my cheap heal. And yeah, this is going on to his leg.
He's not even doing his full heal. He's just
Sorry, I double tapped there.
No, it's all right. The first one, there's only 4 different. So yeah, the next one, you heal his leg, and there's another thud at the door, and this time you actually see the edge of the battle axe blade come through the wooden door, and yet they're obviously rocking and prying it open. And Brian turns around. He sort of like looks at his leg, and he takes the sword that he's wielding and suddenly clamps his other hand onto it. He sort of like, it looks almost like big enough to be, not quite big enough to be a two-handed sword, but definitely a 1.5-handed sword, and he's got it in front, and he sort of like brings it down, and he says, "It looks like, Mr. Bartleby, we're going to have company. Please tell me who you have annoyed." There's another woof into the...
I may have upset some gangs down in the impoverished areas by thwarting their attempts to, kill the visiting guild mistress of the merchant guilds.
There's another woof on the bar, and he sort of like says, "Please tell me you didn't annoy the Thieves Guild?"
Yes, specifically them. If we're going to stay and fight, I need to call upon Amriel to protect us.
He sort of like, when he says, "Oh, not the Thieves Guild," you said, yeah, I'm sorry, I need to, and he says, his face starts to grin, and he sort of like, "Protect away." But before he says to you to start off with, as he turns to face the door, he says, "Well, it looks like 2 of us have annoyed them," and sort of like brings his sword round to bear, and cast your protection spell onto him.
I was thinking of doing a miracle, actually, here.
No! What's that coming over the hill? Is it a miracle? Is it a miracle?
Well, this is what I wanted to put on him. Throw up one of those bad boys.
Amriel's shield is back in action. Exhort away,
and you
then.
see in an alleyway somewhere, Angus is going, "No!"
Oh yes, and it's all like that, and the power of Amriel forms into this shield, it just in front of him, and he sort of like looks at you and smiles and says, "Nice. Now just try to make sure nothing hits me." And at that moment, there's almighty whack. The blade comes through, and as they pull it out, the little door splinters, and right in the doorway there stands the thug, we'll call them, stood there with his battle axe at the ready. He's not in the corridor yet, but he soon will be. And let's zoom across to Master Hengist here. Let me just zoom out. So we'll be going into combat round. Oops, not that one. This will be turn 2 of combat round 1 for you, Hengist. So you used up your final action point from last. Be combat round 2, turn 1. 1, 2, so we're heading on to the next combat round. So on 17 you actually start to attack, I think, or have an action.
Quick question before I do. I can't remember, does ward location continue, or do I have to redo it every combat round?
No, it lasts for the scene.
That's fine.
So if
I knew I had to renew it if I actively parried, but I couldn't remember about...
So as long as you keep it up for this combat until you've run away or something, then...
Well, that's very quickly, isn't it?
And if you can't, I've got a tablet for that.
Great, Sir Robin.
Excellent. So on 7...
He's going to swing at them with his sword.
Cool.
Swing at the leader with his sword. Succeeds on a 72.
So you sort of like swing, and he will try to parry it with his crossbow bolt. his crossbow. Sorry. Yeah, he fails. He tries to he sees your sword coming down, and he tries to raise his crossbow to try to parry, but he doesn't quite make it at all. So I need special hit location and damage.
Special is going to be choose location. Choose location is going to be. Is he holding the crossbow in his left hand or his right hand? Sorry,
it'll be in his right hand. He's probably right.
So it's going to be choose location, right arm, and then you want some damage. You're using it one-handed, so it's that button for 3 points.
Right hand, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
For 3 points. Ouch.
That's quite a low roll for him.
Yeah, he sort of like seems to have a minor wound in that, and it's at this point that the 3 further down, in total disregard that their captain is actually in combat, they release their preloaded crossbows.
Obviously trained by Hazra.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So here's the first one. First one misses 83. The second one misses. A third one misses. They all fire.
Clearly not trained by Hazra.
Yeah, they hit sort of like walls and ceilings and everything like that. And these two up at the top, they actually draw their they drop their crossbow and draw their battle axes on their turn. So this is combat round still round 2, combat turn 2 this time. And Hengist, you go. Hang on. This guy tried to parry, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So he hasn't had his action
No.
yet. So he does the same. He drops his crossbow and brings out his battle axe. And so now it's combat turn 2, and Hengist, you're up still.
Okay. Hengist knows speed is the key to his survival at the moment, so he's going to try and get this guy on the floor as quick as he can. So he's going to follow him.
Sorry. It's not that
He's
fun.
like that with all the women.
Oh, yeah.
Roll away.
Succeeds with a 70.
So he has his battle axe out, so he'll try to use his remaining action point to try to parry this. Bing! And he 88 to ladies. He misses, so you'll have special hit location damage.
So he's going to do choose location again, and it's going to be right arm.
Yeah.
And then you want some damage. So it's that person for 9 points this time.
That's a better one. He needs to make an endurance check now. And he gets a 71, which is above. He doesn't succeed in his endurance roll. And I think that actually means that's in an arm, isn't it?
It's his right arm.
Yeah. So you sort of like whack your sword across his arm. He sort of like lets out a cry as you just sort of like slice through his unarmored arm and sort of like cleave it straight off. Just above the shoulder, just at the shoulder, you just sort of like do a downward strike, and he is out for the count. And I'm just going to put a cross on him like that, so I know he's dead. So that's combat turn 2, but it does allow these to move around. You probably make a minor adjustment as they come, but they will approach you on combat, and this would be turn 3.
Okay.
They don't have any actions left, so yeah, what would you like to do?
Doesn't have much choice at the moment. He's going to.
There's always a choice, Hengist. Always.
Well, yeah, he's making his choice. He
Take
doesn't
the
have
blue
much choice.
pill.
There's one choice. He's just going to drop a pack of smoke and disappear. No, I'm joking.
Hengist wins all fights except one, and in that
The last one.
he dies.
Hengist is going to attack this one. The one
Okay,
I'm
then.
thinking, top
Yeah.
right one.
Go for it.
With his last action point.
Yeah.
Succeeds on 15.
He can't parry. He's got no actions left, so I need special hit location damage.
Special is going to be. I didn't want to use the same one again, but I'm going to use the same one. Choose location, and he's going to go for the leg this time. Left leg.
Left leg. Yeah.
And then you want some damage. For 10 points of damage, my max.
So that will take it down to left leg. Was that? Yep.
Left leg.
That will take it down to a -4 in that location, which means it is just a serious wound, but he still needs to make his endurance check on it of 32. He actually fails that, and his leg gives way, and he's now prone on the floor. And that's the end of combat round 2 for you people. And so we now dash over to Gulliver.
Okay, so failing his last spell, Gulliver's going to cancel his project sense, and he closes his eyes, and when he opens it again, there's these just normal blue eyes there, and he's going to say to Margot, he's going to say, there's people inside with crossbows. He's whispering this almost in her ear, saying, there's people inside with crossbows aimed at the door. Close the door.
Yeah, she reaches out to sort of like grab the door handle and close it, and as she does, all of a sudden she cries out, and you're not too sure why until you notice that there's actually in her outstretched hand, in the arm, it's not her fighting arm, it's her left arm, a crossbow bolt appears, and you suddenly take a quick check around Gulliver, and you notice, can you see him?
No, yes.
This guy, if you remember, there's that walkway, and he sort of like has come up, leveled his crossbow bolt down and fired, and it's hit her. She couldn't evade because she didn't know it was arriving, and she takes 6 points. She sort of like cries out a bit, and you notice that it hasn't impaled it, but it's sort of like sliced off a bit of her arm, and she sort of like shudders back and sort of like cradles it, and she sort of like steps forward, almost to protect you now, and she says, she just shouts out at you, she says, "Take cover!" And what would you like to do?
Gulliver wants to head to the door. Is the door? It's only slightly open, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so he wants to head to the door, and he wants to grab it and pull it closed.
Okay, so you sort of like go off and pull it, and she sort of like seems to be guarding you, and she says looks up, and she can tell that the thug is down, and she says he's reloading. Suggestions?
I think we should run.
Direction.
Can I make a streetwise roll? The best way to get down to where we maybe last saw guards when he was heading up here.
Okay, yeah, make a streetwise roll.
I got a standard skill.
Yeah, you probably figure down to here, and then off in this direction.
Okay, so he's going to say, follow me. But before he does that, he's then going to, with the door closed, he wants to put his hand on it, and he wants to cast a spell. Okay,
then. Hold fast and take thinking.
Yeah, so it's going to take him, because of the range that it is, he's going to be able to, he's going to be able to do it in one
turn.
Yeah, because there's only one target, so there's no components modified, so it'll come off in one turn.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So
it'll cost him one magic point, unless, of course, I can get a really nice roll.
Yeah, if you get a crit.
Yeah, and so this is with my roll so far, I don't think that's going to happen. So, which is actually very good for him.
It is, very yeah. Good.
Because it's opposed.
Yeah, but I don't think I get a.
You probably it'd probably be opposed by brawn if people are trying to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. The door itself doesn't have a roll. It's only if it's a living being, and the door comes to life. It's a mimic. And it's just sort of like
so Gulliver always
Mr. Door.
Pulling the door closed, he puts his hand on it, and as he puts his hand on it, sort of like water comes out from his hand and sort of like makes its way round to the edges of the door, and then it's just sort of like pulses once and disappears, and the door is held fast, and Gulliver's going to say, follow me, and he wants to be heading down over this way.
Okay then. So at the beginning of the next round, you head down. She's not really happy for you to lead the way. You expressed earlier that you needed some protection. So even with her bleeding arm, she sort of like pushes you behind her as if you're almost like protecting a child, and sort of like she says, "Stay behind me, boy. You are no good in situations like this." And you head off running down that. Are you running or walking, just out of interest?
Well, she probably sets off at a run, but she's soon going to realise that Gulliver can't keep up with her, because Gulliver's her run, if say for example it's the same as Gulliver's would be normally, would be 17.
Right.
Whereas Gulliver's is only 2/3 of 17 because of his
right.
leg,
Yeah. So she sort of like sets off a sprint and sort of like looks behind you, all sort of like limping and running, and she just goes, "Jesus Christ," and slows down and sort of like, "Get a move on, boy," she says. And we'll move up to Hazra, who has deftly vaulted out of the window, landed on the ground, almost like crouching, tiger-like, spear in his.
Yeah,
spear in his hand. What would you like to do? Do you need to go away?
Yes, I need 2 seconds to have my name being called.
Okay, then. We'll go to somebody else and come back to you, don't worry. Okay, then. So, it's you, Bartleby, isn't it?
Yep, it's this guy.
Cool, yeah. So, at the end of this, the guy appeared in front of you. So yeah, what do you wish to do? So this will be in combat now.
Okay. I know exactly what I want to do. I want to first use my free action with the Aegis to ward location on him.
Yeah, I forgot we had that out. I was trying to remember what you did last time, and then yes, I remember.
It's a huge shield. Does that mean I get 4 locations?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it says in the
it's the hoplite shield, so it's 4.
4. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So I would like to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I have to be kind of connected. I wanted to do the head, chest, abdomen, left arm, and left leg, kind of like the left side.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's absolutely fine. So, yeah.
And then for my action, I want to, because they have destroyed church property, I feel like I'm allowed to ask Amriel to punish the potential sinners. So Bartleby would say something like, "Destroying church property is a sin," and then prepare the
oh, hang on.
this bad boy.
I need hang on, just one moment. I'm just
No problem. Dang, 72 meters? That's some long range judgment.
The arm of Amriel knows no bounds.
Well, more than 72 meters is a bit out of her bounds. But.
Oh, what's this sound?
I can't hear it.
Can you not hear
like
that?
Static.
Oh, I hear it goes. There's and then which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Right, so yeah. It just makes me laugh because it's such a powerful spell. Then it says if the spell is not resisted, it stuns for 1d3 turns, doesn't it? Yeah. Does it do damage? No,
No damage.
It just stuns.
I didn't feel okay taking damage as Bartleby. I figured something to do with energy would make more sense.
Okay then, go for it.
Here is my roll. 35.
Yeah. So there's no resist. A resist
There is.
would be an evade. So let me just roll his evade.
I believe Sniffer, or the other guy who was harassing us from the Thieves Guild, was the one who evaded when I did this.
Yeah.
Punish him.
But this guy doesn't evade. The shock so therefore you need to tell me, roll a 1d20 to see which area. 5.
It's a left leg.
Thank you. I just need to get to
It's a dead leg.
Bartleby's page. What was it? Left leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, left leg.
So that's now stunned. Roll a 1d3.
1. Heck yeah. Big
Heck
numbers.
yeah! For 1 turn, he is prone on the ground. Arrow, Garish says, "Arrow to the knee," and it's sort of like
She knows all about that.
and he sort of like falls. He falls down in sort of like a crumple, and then while that is happening, you notice that as the person goes down, Brian just goes like that and swings his sword. His skill is 72 and he gets a dice roll of 6, which in my reckoning will be a critical. Yeah, and he's just sort of like swings it with all his might, and 13 is his right arm with the weapon in, and he sort of like swings this sword down with deadly accuracy and very a trained arm is more to the point. And I think he's using it the same as that, so he'll do 1d10 worth of damage on it. Yeah, and he sort of like whooshes it down, and you notice that he sort of like slices into it. How many? 5. That was his right arm, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So 3, 5 minus 2. It's still hanging on. He hasn't sliced it off, but the guy is on the ground. He needs to make an endurance roll. Oh no, wrong one. Ignore that. This one. He gets 33 out of 32. So he fails that roll, and so that's it. So, and you notice that his battle axe arm sort of like drops. It's got this deep gash in it, and he drops his battle axe onto the floor, and he's prone as well. So he sort of like feels his leg go numb, and then this two-handed weapon just comes slicing down and sort of like pulls half his arm off, and he's just sort of like slumps, and he sort of like tries to crawl or pull himself up to the wall. He's not trying to get up there. He's just sort of like making sure that he's out the way. And as he sort of like gets out the way, you notice that another person comes to the door. So this is now turn 2 of your combat round.
Okay.
So, who goes first? Did I? Where's? Oh, yes. So, yeah.
I was 12.
Yeah. So this guy takes another shot at him with his second. Oh, it's not that one. It's this one. This is his second action. Yeah, and he swipes his as this other one comes in to take the guy's place. He swipes at that one as well, and he rolls a 1d20. Whacks him in his 8. This is right into his abdomen. And he sort of like comes towards, and he sort of like goes like that straight into his gut, and this that takes him down to -1 point. He almost like the guy runs in, and Brian the mercenary swings his sword around and sort of like brings it for a slice, and the guy doesn't see it and actually impales himself on it. I just need to roll my damage again just to see whether or not I get any higher. No. Yeah, and he sort of like goes like that on it, and he will roll his endurance again. And the guy fails it, and he sort of like goes like that, and Brian sort of like goes like that and pulls his sword out, and this thug just collapses dead, unconscious on the floor. Is Hazra back?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
No, he's not.
In which case, we will zoom across to Hengist, I think is next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay then. So here this is a fight and a half up here. So yeah, Hengist, you go first. The guy in front of you, or the one is prone, one is dead, and you got 4 more. Ward location is up. This will be combat round 3 for you, and we're back at turn 1.
Okay. So Hengist, still mostly surrounded, is going to strike out at the southernmost one.
Okay, yeah, cool.
He's trying to carve his way out of the situation he's managed to find himself in. He fails.
Do you wish to use a point of luck?
No.
Okay then, and therefore then my attacks come for them one after another. Tell me, I'll tell you whether or not they hit, and then you can tell me whether or not you want to use a point for parrying. Okay, first one misses you.
No, thank you.
The second one misses you.
No, thank you.
67 out of 52. The second one, what am I? 61 out of 52. Come on, lucky last one.
No, thank you.
97 out of 52. So they sort of like whack left, right and centre, but they haven't got that prestige of fighting like you do. And as they're swinging, they seem to be broadcasting their actual moves, which for you as a seasoned fighter, see it coming and either just dodge out the way or lean back slightly as these blades come left, right and so one sort of like goes over you, duck down, it swings over your head, and then one goes for your legs and you just jump up in the air and like that, and they're done. And so we're on combat turn 2.
Okay. Angus is going to attack the northernmost one this time.
Cool.
Changing focus, and that's the last one I want. That succeeds for the 44. Oh, that's a formidable.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm just adjusting all my things. This is with this one, yeah?
Northernmost one, yeah.
Okay, so he's got an action point left, so he will try to parry your blow as it comes in. And gets a 93 out of a 52, so he fails. So special hit location damage.
He's going to carry on doing the same thing because it's been working so well. He's going to choose location, and it's going to be the weapon arm. So that's the right arm.
Yep.
And then you want damage for a 4.
That takes off his 3 points. So, which means it's a serious wound, but he will need to make his endurance roll. And he fails that, which means what arm was it? Sorry.
Right arm.
Right arm. That's it. So therefore, he actually drops his weapon as you numb the arm, but that's your second turn, and the other 3 have their rolls to hit. So this is one. Oh, the first one hits.
No.
Second one misses. Third one misses. So this guy is going to roll now. So there's no parry, and you hope for load number 12.
12 is his chest, which he is.
Yeah, so he sort of like swings round and you duck the other blows, and then you see his axe coming for you, and you manage to pick up your lift up your shield and parry it. How big is your shield?
It is a medium shield.
And my battle axe is large, so I think it will just block half the damage. I think.
Sounds about right.
I always find the impale table and not so. Mine's yours is medium, defending weapon medium. Yeah, so half damage as his battle axe comes around. Right, so this is battle axe there. Ba, ba, ba. So this is good. You will take half damage from this. 5, 6, 7 points of damage clicks into your shield. So you'll take 3 points if that.
No, that's fine.
Get from your on your shield arm.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine. It
okay.
Doesn't go through the armor.
Yeah, cool.
3.
Okay then, and then that's me out.
Yeah, Angus still has one. Yeah, he's still got 1 action point left.
Cool. Yeah.
He didn't do any parrying. So I don't know which one it attacked. He just sort of hit him on the shield arm, but he will attack that person next.
Probably this one down at the bottom.
Okay, that's fine. So he's going to attack that person.
Yep. Yeah, that hits. So special hit location damage.
Special will be choose location again, and he's going to go for the leg. It's going to be the right leg.
Yeah.
Pick it random.
Right leg. Okay.
And you want some damage for 4 points of damage.
Yeah, and that's just sort of like gives him a flesh wound there, and then that's your round over. So we will zip now to you, Gulliver.
Okay, so Gulliver and Margot are currently on the run through the streets of Lindo. Gulliver knows that his leg and the fact that he's easily tired is probably going to work to their disadvantage here. So he wants to try to remember where the closest tavern is to this the way that they're going, and he wants to then direct Margot there, hoping that, thinking that with other people.
Okay, so roll your streetwise or locale if it's set for Lindo, or streetwise would be fine.
Yeah, I'll just use my streetwise. I got 17
Nice.
out of 40.
Yeah, so you figure it's probably down this way, and you communicate this to Margot as you run down there. I just need to roll something.
He's occasionally going to be looking back the way that he came to see whether or not he can see anybody as they sort of like go around the corners. Just before he goes around the corner, he's just going to quickly look back.
Yeah, and there seems to be nothing following you at all. But as as you come out this way, and Margot's heading for this gap here. As she goes down, all of a sudden this crossbow bolt comes from further round the corner, and you can see this dastardly thug. It hits her right leg as she comes around the corner. It just sort of like slices off, and she sort of like stumbles slightly. It doesn't look like it hasn't impaled, or it impaled into a leg, but it doesn't look like it's penetrated that far at all. It's almost as if, it just clicked the side of the skill. But I did roll 2, that's why I rolled 2 damage rolls, but the 2 were 4, and then the second one was a 3. So it's sort of like in her leg, but it's not sort of like through to the bone. What would you like to do?
As Margot sort of like heads around the corner, Gulliver's going to pull up, and he's going to point at this person with his 2 fingers crossed, and Margot hears him go, "Emmet!" as he casts another spell. So the spell that he's going to cast is that. His folk magic roll is that. You get to resist with your endurance against a roll of 63.
63. He fails. So he's now has 1 level of fatigue, I think.
Yeah. And Gulliver's going to...
So all his rolls are now high.
Cast his spell. He's going to run round the corner after Margot.
Okay. So she sort of like gets hit. You sort of like run out and go Eric at here. She sort of like holds her ground as you carry on down that way, and we will move. Is Hazra back?
Yeah, I sent you a message when he was back.
Oh, sorry, I did. Where did you send the message to?
Discord.
Oh, yeah, cheers. I didn't see it. Okay, then, Hazra.
9:34. I sent it 10 minutes ago.
It
wasn't anything important.
It's because
like the house is on fire or something.
Yeah, sorry. I'm so immersed in the game. I feel like one.
Not worth getting your house.
If I was you, I'd be immersed in the game.
Yeah. And talking about being immersed in a bush.
Deep in the bush.
Hazra.
Hash's primary concern is getting out of here. He knows his forest. He's walked around his forest through the night many a time, so he's going to run as fast as he can away from his house, possibly towards a person that fired a crossbow at him. But what he's aiming to do is run past that person and then break left and then go around the back of the house and hopefully see who else is there. While his aim is to break out as if he's running straight away from the building, then stop and then stealthily move left.
Okay, so
Work around.
yeah. So first of all, you sort of like head off into the
Full pulse.
So I would like you to make an athletics roll. It'll just be a standard roll because you're ducking out of branches and things like that. And then
I know this part of my house.
yeah, and you sort of like head off, and yeah, you sort of like head out towards, and you come across as you're heading straight out, you come across the bandit or the thug who is loading up, as you've thought in the first. He's loading up his actual crossbow. What would you just like to run past him, or what?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. Hindsight, I would say about, but he's got put in his mind. He wants to be a decoy. He wants to run out into the forest.
Okay.
And then stealthily come back.
Yeah, so he's not in combat with you, so you don't actually need to roll an evade to escape combat.
Yeah.
But as you head out into the forest, he will finish loading his bow because you'll probably run. He only needs 6 more seconds.
Yeah.
So you sort of like go out and he reaches up and he releases his bow. Now. I need to see whether or not his crossbow bolts. I need to see whether or not I hit. You can. The only thing that you'll be able to do is evade. Okay.
Yeah.
If it hits, but I will allow you to augment it with your athletics as well if it hits and you wish to evade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he sort of like fires it off, and you're sort of like running in the thing. And all of a sudden, just as you pass a tree, it goes pa-ding, straight into the tree. And this guy, you hear him shout from behind, "I think I got him! He's heading into the forest!"
Yep.
What would you like to do?
Again, I would like to get a bit further out than stop and stealthily crouch.
How far away do you actually want to be?
I want to be about 30 or 40 feet away from the house.
So what's your run speed at the moment?
My run speed is 19.
19. So you're probably covering about 40
turns.
Yeah, because you'll be ducking out the way of things. So you sort of like head off deeper and deeper into the forest, and you can hear. Just make a perception roll for me, please. Yeah, you can hear shouting, people shouting, he went this way, let's get him. And you can hear almost like the stumbling of people as one goes round and the branch goes into their head, and you head off deeper into the forest. And we will move over to the battle at the temple.
Yeah.
And yeah, so currently there is one person still alive but quite dead. Looks like he's going to die. One guy who's you given a dead leg to. The other guy and Brian sort of like sliced off his arm. Yeah, what would you like to do?
And I did see there were more people, so I presume more people are coming in here.
Yeah, make a perception roll. Yeah, you can. You know you maybe heard more outside, but Brian's in the way. You can't really see through the door.
I know exactly what I want to do, and what I would like to do is try and use
Divine
my
intervention. No, sorry.
I want to try and use my oratory skill to maybe call up to try and unnerve them, and to like do a big sermon about the Amriel and Meroth.
There's all these everybody fight here, and Bartleby says, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here."
We have gathered here before.
That would unnerve. But
yeah, go for it.
I wanted more of like an angry priest Jeremiah Cross kind of thing. FYI. Anyways, here's my roll.
Yeah, so you sort of like to start to gesticulate and sort of like break forth in some manic. What message are you trying to get across?
Flee, or you're going to be crushed by Amriel and Meroth.
Yeah, and you sort of like say this out loud, and Brian shouts after it, "Oh, I'll bloody impale you on my sword!" Like that out. And he sort of like takes a step forward and plants his foot, almost like he just sort of like kicks out and kicks into the throat of the unconscious one, and steps through into the doorway. And we'll come back now to Hengist. So we are now on combat round 4, I think. Turn 1.
Oh, I need to. If we're on combat round 4, I need to roll an endurance roll.
I thought you rolled it.
I haven't rolled an endurance roll yet. I rolled it on the end of 3 rounds. So
okay, yeah. So you need an endurance roll. This fighting is getting to you, but you're fine.
Okay.
So you don't need Bartleby's spell. You just don't need it. Okay, yeah, you're up.
It's always useful. He's going to carry on attacking the guy he attacked last time, which is the most southerly guy, because he's wounded him.
Yeah.
And he needs to get him on the floor so he can get away. Yep.
That's hit. Right, hang on. Let me just adjust, because he will quite naturally try to... which... Oh, this one's got no arm, hasn't he?
The one I'm attacking is this one, the one I'm pinging, the most southerly guy.
Oh yeah, the one that
I put a damage on
his
right leg.
Yeah. So here's his parry roll. Now he succeeds on a 24. So you actually attack and parries aren't opposed, aren't they? If I succeed, it's just like reduced damage, isn't it?
I think so. I can't remember.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, because it's the same as the shield. So what? How big's your sword?
My sword is a medium.
Medium, and his axe is a large.
So that's no.
Yeah, so he blocks it and absorbs the damage on it, and then the other people around him try to hack away. Oh no, my roll's not. And that one hits.
Yes, he will try to parry that.
Okay, go for it.
So he's parrying it with his sword.
Yeah.
To specify. Okay, a 51.
Yeah. So you'll take half damage. Oh no. Yeah, because his axe is bigger.
Medium.
You'll take half damage of this. 3. Hang on, I've got another roll. 3. 5 points of damage.
2.
In your
that's right.
11.
5 points of damage in my 11, which is my. Did you say 5 points of damage?
Yeah, 5 points of damage.
That doesn't go through my armor. My
Cool.
armor is 5.
And then this is the last one. Who misses? Who actually
fine,
misses? So this is combat turn 2 now. So he'll be down. He's got one. Each of them have got one at the moment. Yeah. So what would you like to do?
I'm going to use a reactive action. I can't remember what they're called, to make a parry if needed.
Oh, so you're just going to delay your
delay my action. That's the one. Thank you.
Okay then. So they will fight back. I think this one's got 0 points left because he must have done a parry. So the other two will attack. Boom! Oh, one gets a crit. Nice.
And
the other one.
I'm going to use my luck point to make you re-roll, if that's all right.
The other one hits as well, just so you know. But I'll roll the first one again. The first one doesn't hit, so you use your luck to re-roll it. So just one hit coming in.
So I used my my delayed action to parry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, parry away.
Parrying with sword again. I get a 52.
Yeah. Okay, so here's his damage. In your 14, 4 points of damage.
14 is my right arm, and 4 points of damage don't go for my armor of 5.
Okay, cool. And now we are you, Gulliver, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Gulliver is heading for this tavern, making sure that Margot is still following him.
Yeah, and so you sort of like you remember this way to this tavern, and you sort of like Margot's keeping up with you mainly because you are you're running slower because of your gippy leg, and Margot's sort of like following you, and she sort of sounds out of breath, and she's sort of like saying, how much further, and you sort of like see the tavern up ahead, and you say, here, and sort of like head off to it. I just need to make one more roll. Why are you not and you sort of like head towards it, and you notice that a crossbow bolt whizzes past Margot and sort of like hits an elderly lady with a young child. No, and sort of like hits in, and you sort of like have a look around, and you see that Margot is on your heels, and you see in the distance this thug has just fired his crossbow bolt, and he sort of like he sees that you're approaching the tavern, and he sort of like lowers his crossbow, and just slowly steps back and fades into the shadows. Hazra, with you.
So I'm muted. So Hazra will. Muted. I was muted. Oh. So Hazra will. He'll get a certain distance away from the house. He will then go stealthy. He's regretted not being able to say, "You're in my world now."
Yeah. So roll your stealth.
Certainly. He will use a point to look at that for a reroll if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
There you go.
Yeah, and you start to stealthily go round to the back of the house, and as you do, you can hear the sounds of the voices, but they seem to be going along the same road as you were going in the first place.
That's what I wanted, yes.
Yeah, and you sort of like head back round to your house. Bartleby, we come over to you, and Brian sort of like steps out, and you sort of like step up to the back, and you sort of like look out, and you see that the Brian's there with one wound that he has that you didn't manage to heal, and he sort of like gives out this almighty yell, and you see that there's 3, 4 more of these thugs sort of like look at him and with his sword and sees you coming across as well, and they suddenly become aware that their colleagues, partners in crime, are sort of like either dead or indisposed of within the church, and they sort of like gradually back away. And Brian says, "Come on!" and they just sort of like grin and disappear into the darkest, into the surrounds. And and we're back up now with Hengist. You go first, I think.
Okay, well, there's still 3 guys standing, so he's going to carry on fighting. He's not saying anything. He's just got grim determination on his face, and he's going to attack the southernmost guy again. Nope.
No. Okay then. And the others take swings at you. One. Right. The first one was a 7 out of 52, so that was hit.
That's a crit, isn't it? So
seven out of 52.
Oh, 52. Sorry.
5 or below.
That's all right. He's going to try and parry.
Okay then.
With his... Yeah, he's going to parry.
Okay, cool. Use up your action point then and parry.
With a crit.
So you will actually get the special. So you can use the defensive special on me.
Is it just a normal one or is it a crit one?
It's
just a normal one, isn't it?
No, you got a crit.
Oh, I got a crit. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to use that one. No, I'm just going to use overextend opponent. So whoever that was is, overextended. Which one is your actual?
So what am I?
Overextended. I'm just double checking what that means because I have forgotten because I've not used it in ages. Overextended. Defender sidesteps or retreats at an inconvenient moment, causing the attacker to overreach themselves. The opponent cannot attack on his next turn.
Yeah. Okay then. So the first one overreaches. The second one gets a 3 out of a 52.
That's the crit.
That's a crit.
That's lovely.
I've got to get another crit now, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to try and parry.
Okay, go for it.
Four crit. Come on.
No.
Okay then. So
Swing and a miss.
Okay, so he will bypass armor, obviously, and so
choose location, head, and
Hengist is dead.
Yeah.
No, because
No, I'm joking.
if it'll just hit his shield if I go for his head.
No, I'm not warding on my low. I'm not warding head.
Oh right, I didn't know. Right, I'm just going to roll a d20 in any case. 12.
12 is my chest, which I am warding.
Okay then. So you'll take half of this damage. 2, 3,
40.
3, 7 is. Hang on, I'm not finished yet because I've got that one's 7, so that one would be 3. But I'm going to impale as well, so I get to that'll be 3, 4. So it'd be the 7. So you'll take half of that damage. So it'd be 3. If that will go through your armor.
No, that doesn't go through the armor of 5.
Cool. And at that point you'd finished dodging these rolls, and all of a sudden you hear coming up the street. You hear the sigh of "Oi, what's happening?" and coming into your line of sight seems to be a couple of town guards, and you sort of like they sort of like see you, and they rush up, and the people who are dead or dying are disposed of, and the rest sort of like make a hasty getaway, being pursued by the town guards as they go off into the town. And Hazra, when you get back to your house, there's no sign of the robbers or the thugs. There is, however, stuck to your front door, a dagger.
Jehovah's Witness sticker.
Yeah, a rather badly carved dagger, and it sort of like is whacked into the door, and it's holding a piece of paper up there. And
package under the porch.
And you sort of like see it, and even you can recognise the words on it, and it just says across it, Sniffer. And
yes.
Yeah, and you sort of like all of you, Brian has Bartleby, you sort of like talk to Brian, and it appears that as expected, he does have some dealings with Sniffer and the Thieves Guild. Let me just call up my sheet so I can remember. Yeah, he actually once did a mercenary hit on one of Sniffer's friends, and you find out, Gulliver, that Margot actually also has some ill doings with Sniffer, because she undermined him in a transaction that was meant to be his, and so he's not keen at all. So it appears that Sniffer has decided to take revenge on you, and maybe the streets of Lindo are not as safe as they once seemed. And
But next week they will be.
And with that, we will draw the session to the close. Please remember that there is no session next week, because I am on open day next week. So I will be working all afternoon. Because I have to stream ESO twice a week. I will be streaming that on the evening to keep my place in the stream team, ESO stream team. So yeah, and so there'll be no session next week, but we'll start a new adventure the week after. So just to let you know, I wanted to do something that I could just fit into one session, if that makes sense. So it would just
can't we have our own payback the following week?
Well, that would be up to you. If you wish, just put in the chat what you would like.
We'll
to
chat about it. Yes.
Yeah, and then just tell me what you would like to do, and I'm quite happy to make up the adventure to suit that. That's not a problem at all. So once again, you have survived by the skin of your teeth. Gulliver got protected by Margot the merchant. Bartleby got protected by Brian the merc. Hazra managed dive out the window and run away. And Hengist stood steadfast against a screaming demon horde of thugs and came out unscathed.
No,
I didn't realize
I've got a crossbow bolt in my leg.
All right, yeah.
Well, I didn't realize your armor was 5. That's really
What? I know. And that's the worst of the rigid armors.
That's like my just almost my hit points.
Yeah. So
It's most of my hit points as well.
I suddenly realise I need a bigger weapon.
I know, I noticed you wielding axes.
Yeah.
Hence the parrying at the end. I was like, ah!
Yeah, so brilliant. Okay then, so if you're watching, then thank you so much for coming along tonight. Hope you enjoyed this week's session. We will not be playing Mythras next week, but the week after we will. I will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock for some more Elder Scrolls Online. Does anybody else have any announcements before we go? I do not. That's what Gulliver
None from
normally
me.
says.
I do not. Yes, that's right.
I'm going to be shooting poor defenseless animals tomorrow morning. There we go.
Lovely.
I'm having to sleep. I'm having to lay in tomorrow.
Cool. So I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, thanks, staff. It was a fun session, and Garish, have a good one, she says, people. So that was fantastic. Okay, so until next time, please remember to be who you are and say what you think. Because the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. Have fun. And we will catch you all later. And until then, happy dice rolling. And let's hope you all get that special effect. See you all later, people. Bye.
Bye.
This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.